The new Kling Lab workflow system is now available, and we're going to check it out. Just go over to the left-hand side and click on Kling Lab. Welcome, my name is Rosh. I'm the co-host of the Creative AI Show, where we are two creative guys talking AI, and in this video, we're going to explore the Kling Lab, which is now available for those who like to use nice workflow spaces. And it may not be for everyone, but we're going to push some buttons and try some of the features and see if it's right for you. Click here for a personal project, or if you have a team project, that can be valuable, especially if you have multiple collaborators. But there is a way to share your board, and I'll show you how to do that. Here are some demos if you're interested to see how this process works. So let's just actually take a look at this demo right here. We'll click on it. And as you can see, here are the instructions and the outputs. So right here is the text instruction. Here's the detail in terms of how many outputs you want, what model you want to use, and so forth. And then here is the result. And you can work horizontally if you wish, or you can work vertically, depending on your workflow and the way you prefer to lay out your ideas. You have your assets right here. Up here, you can create new images with the traditional methods such as text to image to image, and restyling, which is kind of a preset. If you want to go through the different presets that are available to style your image, you can do so. Here is video generation, text to video, frames, meaning you're uploading your own image, and then elements is multiple images. And here is sound generation, text to audio or video to audio. Here you can add a node, as you can see here, and I'll show you more about this in a second. And then if you want to hide your connections, these little lines right here, you can do so here. And if you'd like to dive into the user guide, just click up here. And lastly are some shortcuts, which can be very helpful, especially if you use this workflow often. All right, let's create a workflow in Kling Lab. So here we are. Here's some projects I've been playing with before. I was a beta tester with Kling Lab in the midsummer. And honestly, I really didn't get into it. And that's why I seem to have some reservations in this conversation. But I do know this is a good workflow for many different people. I'll talk more about that at the end of this demonstration. But let's just kind of dive in. Let's start with something that we're very familiar with. And we'll just start right here. Here's the AI's version of it, and you can edit and change this. We can start right here if we want when we just enter our ideas. But here is the next step. Do we want this to be a video? Do we want this to be an image, or is this sound generation? I'm going to leave this text because it came up with a good version. So instead of an image, I want to create a video. So I click right here and go from text to image to text to video. And then they'll give us our new parameters and so forth. We want to use Kling Turbo 2.5, which is when Kling Lab came out with the launch of 2.5. We can have sound generation, which is currently free. They like to promote that. The size, the output, number of outputs, you can have 2, 4, 1, all depending if you have the pro version or not. We'll stick with 5 seconds and generate. As you can see, here is our text to video generation. If you want to increase or decrease the size of the frame, you can do so. Okay, here is our model in the yellow dress. We can click on it to increase the size. Go back. We have some options here. We can edit the video. We can add to chat. We can expand. We can duplicate, and we can download. So if we want to edit our video, we can do so, which should look familiar to any video editor. You can capture a frame if you wish. Let's say we want this frame right here, and we want to click. And that's now saved to canvas. We can split in any spot, or we can drag either end to the length that we want. And again, we can add this to the canvas in the new form. Now we have a number of choices. We can organize this any way we wish. If you want to get rid of a frame, just click on delete after you've highlighted it. And again, reorganize. If we wish to add, we could add text to video or text to image or image to image, which would have us upload. If you want to upload, you can do so right here. Add an image, add video, select from your history or your assets. So if you click here, it'll give you a new series of images or videos. When you add to chat, this is important. When you add to chat, it's almost like a editing feature. So now say a parrot lands on the shoulder of the model. Looks like it went Chinese on us, but I'm assuming it's similar to what I asked for. Let's generate and see what happens. So here is the result. Double click. And I don't see the parrot. And of course, I can't read this. So maybe I can copy and paste. Let's see what this says. Okay. So here's the translation. The video shows a woman in yellow walking alone in the streets, technology advanced, futuristic city, smiling. Okay, so, wow. So if I would have read that, I probably would have gone with it. But there's no parrot that I asked for. Well, so, but that's a problem if it doesn't recognize that we're still in English. But ultimately, I have edited, for example, in this project here, earlier while testing, the original video just had the lady walking down the street in the purple dress, and then I edited and had the parrot land on her shoulder, and that was the idea. So I don't know. I'm a little confused on when I can edit and when I can't edit, or what's the best approach each time. So I guess ultimately my thought and review of this is it is rather confusing. You can organize, you can collaborate, you can share. For example, if you want to share, you just click on this button here, and then you can add a collaborator. Copy the link so somebody else can work on your platform. So this is a nice collaboration platform. I see some value there. But ultimately, as you can see, this is kind of a mess. And I mean, the good news is that I can organize it. I can do, and for some people, this is just perfect. You know, create a new generation from here, create audio, create an image, and build it out. And it's a very visual platform that for some people is perfect. And I'm a visual person, but I find it a little too unwieldy. I would prefer, for example, to use Google Flow to help, create, maybe with Nano Banana, create my image, then bring it to life, and then put it in the scene maker. Here's scene 1, here's scene 2, here's scene 3 in a very concrete way. And I think that's what I see is kind of missing, is this concreteness that for my workflow doesn't work. But you may be looking at this and say, genius, perfect, that is what I need. And of course, that is why I'm showing it to you. If you want to hear more about AI for the creative, check into the Creative AI Show, where we are two creative guys talking AI. I'll see you in the next video.